All right, going on, guys. We're back at it with another NBA DFS video. It's just me today. Funk has some work stuff to take care of, which is fine. Gonna show you guys a boom bust tool. I'm gonna actually grab my phone and double check injury news and stuff. There's some, I don't know if they're really a huge concern, but if things fall in the right direction, there's some value, I guess you can say, that is going to be available. Um, Kevin Love is questionable. Jimmy Butler is probable to play. Haywood Highsmith, I don't think anyone's playing him. The main thing is Kyrie Irving is listed doubtful, so obviously you're going to get to a lot of Luka. Darius Garland, Jared Allen ruled out. Spencer Dinwiddie ruled out. So pretty much the boom bust tool is up to date. So before I show you guys any of this, I just want to refresh it to make sure that it's the most up to date. Yeah, nothing is updated in the last I don't know, 20 minutes or so. So I'm just going to show you guys really quick what it likes. So obviously I have this set to the boom percentage. So right now it has all of these guys. So basically from Lonnie Walker up has the highest percentage of boom probability, obviously. So I'm just going to go over these really quick. Ben Simmons, DeJounte Murray, Bones Highland, Jordan Poole, Trae Young, Sengun, Doncic, Lonnie Walker. So the reason why that Bones Highland and even Norman Powell, even though he's at 28%, like these are like the best boom percentage options, and then you just keep scrolling down. So there are some like Powell has a 28% boom percentage, and then his bust percentage is 16. Underdog said last night that who was it? Kawhi and Paul George are uncertain to play, so it's kind of just like a toss up at the moment. So, I mean, if they get ruled in and they're playing tonight, then obviously Bones, I mean, he's 4,700 and he's a starter. He had his first career start. I don't know if that's what they're going to do going forward. If he starts, I like him. His ceiling is 33 fantasy points. So let's just go down the list really quick of each position. I'll try to just make it kind of fast. We'll just go from there. Luca 12.9. That's expensive. He's just been amazing. Just if you play him, you're going to play a bunch of value playing against Chicago. SGA against New Orleans looks good here. Mitchell again playing New York. They got blown out yesterday. I think Karis LeVert is questionable. I know obviously Jared Allen and Darius Garland are ruled out. So he's going to get a bunch of time. There was some guy, I can't remember, Craig Porter just went off randomly yesterday. Let's see if I can find him really quick. He had 23 fantasy points yesterday. So, I mean, 3,500 if he gets a starter, he just comes off the bench and just does what he did last night. He's a great play. Steph, I don't know how healthy everyone is, but kind of compared to these guys, I like Curry in this spot. He's 10,000. There's no De'Aaron Fox. Are you really going to fall into that trap of playing Davion Mitchell where he's just going to get all the minutes and do nothing? That's kind of your stay. Kyrie's listed doubtful, so I mean, if you really want to, I mean, Luka just looks amazing here. He's 12.9 though on FanDuel, which is kind of nuts. Trae Young actually went on Twitter yesterday and saw that Underdog posted that he's questionable for today's game, but he was at some trampoline park, so I'm assuming he's playing. DeJounte Murray just looks good in this spot too. You can honestly get to you can obviously get to any Atlanta guys, and I won't fight you on that just because they're playing Washington. Cade Cunningham looks good here. Let's see his game score from last night. He didn't play so hot last night, but I mean, just the previous three games have been pretty solid. Um, Brunson looks fine. Yeah, I don't know. Westbrook does look good here at 7,600, depending on Paul George. And Kawhi just getting the usage up is going to be good. Van Vliet, sure. I believe Jordan Poole was kind of going, yeah, he's right here on the boom bust tool. They really like him. Um, Ben Simmons. So we all know the crazy history with him, but let's just see points. So he had 11, 10, and 4, but I mean, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. He's getting some blocks and steals, so he definitely has that upside. I'm not saying that he's going to continue on with this, but I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with getting a shot at him doing that. Schroeder looks pretty decent here. I mean, it's against Milwaukee, but since he's been in Toronto, he's produced pretty well. Just the fantasy points have been there. There's a pretty popular bet that I've been seeing on Twitter where it's points and assists, I believe it is. I've seen some people just straight up take his assists, but I mean, nothing wrong with that either. Um, so Spencer Dinwiddie is out, and Lonnie Walker at 4,600 looks pretty good here. His ceiling's 31, but um, I mean, he's probably going to start for Dinwiddie, unless no, he probably will start. There really isn't much else I like in this spot. I mean, Bones Highland at 4,700 is just insane. I don't know what's up with Terrence Mann. Yeah, there's nothing else. So on to shooting guards. I've kind of talked about these guys. I don't know what's up with Tyrese. He's questionable. It's probably going to be a last minute thing. And if you've played NBA DFS before, you kind of know that these teams like to wait till the very last minute. So sometimes constructing your lineups is a little difficult, but whatever. Anthony Edwards at 91 looks pretty nice. I can't remember what he was opening night, but he was like I want to say he was like 9,700. He looks good. He's pretty much almost always good, but the thing is playing Denver, some good defense on that side. So I mean, nothing wrong with taking that shot. Paul George, it says that he could sit on the second leg. I would imagine if they had to choose one, it would be Kawhi to sit out. So I think there's a slightly better chance, but there's a slightly better chance that Paul George will play. The issue is it's a long season. The season just started like a week and a day ago. So I think they're trying to ease their way into all this. Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., Xavier Tillman, those three guys on any given slate with Ja Morant being out the first 25 games of the season, always going to look good. I don't like the price tag, but it kind of makes sense because recently Bain has been kind of cooking. I think we played him this day and he went off. He has some pretty good numbers regardless. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong with having him. He's just going to get a good chunk of the minutes. DeJounte Murray is another one as well. He's been cooking a lot. He put up 41 against Minnesota. We know the upside. Worst case scenario, he does something like this where he gets 11, 2, 6. But I don't think he's going to be like that much longer. Talked about Cade. The thing with Jaylen Brown, he went crazy the other night. But the thing with Jaylen Brown and pretty much any Boston Celtic, really, huge favorites against Indiana. I don't know if he gets his full run or not. Tyler Hero looks okay. I really don't like that price tag too much. I know recently he's been doing pretty well. Cam Thomas, I mean, this guy is just insane in general. I mean, this is how many points he scored in 3 games so far. It makes sense his price tag, and considering the fact that Dinwiddie is out and we don't know how long he's out for, so I don't see anything wrong with taking a shot at him, but Mikal Bridges does look good as well. Obviously, he's not shooting the ball a lot like Cam Thomas is. I don't really like any Bulls in this spot. I mean, it, Dallas just plays at a slow pace to begin with that it's not even worth it. I would consider Kobe White. I know I kind of saw him when I was scrolling through here, but I would consider Kobe. I wouldn't really play him if you're just playing one lineup. Smart is interesting. The reason why I like him is just the defensive upside. He had 5 steals against Denver, 2 blocks, 2 steals against Washington, 3 steals, just a crap load of turnovers. But I mean, kind of the same thing I said as Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Tillman. Smart fits into that category as well. Kind of, truth be told, I kind of forgot about him. Anunoby looks decent here. D'Lo, kind of the same thing with Schroeder. Points and assists is like a hot prop recently. Um, Asure Thompson has been getting a bunch of rebounds, which is contributing to his points. So if he can do stuff kind of like what he did against OKC, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, 1 steal. I already placed a bet on over rebounds for him. I think it was set at 9.5. He's just been going nuts with the rebounds. So definitely a good spot. Anfernee Simons is out. So I mean you can get to Malcolm Brogdon, Shaden Sharp. You can get to some of those pieces as well. Funk always has a thing for Jalen Williams. I mean, he's obviously good. He's look at the numbers have been decent. Strus in a shorthanded Cleveland team doesn't look terrible. He didn't do well for us yesterday, so I kind of expect a bounce back. Jordan Clarkson, that man just shoots the ball. I mean, against Denver, he didn't do good. I just remember last season, you would just take over like 20 points on him, and he would almost always get that for you. Just kind of scrolling through to see if there's anything else. Not really much else I like. The one thing I will say maybe is considering Kyrie's out, you can go to Tim Hardaway, who just almost always has a green light to shoot. So small forwards, Tatum has been insane at 10-6. Only played 27 minutes against Washington, didn't get his full run, but still produced well. Um, LeBron, Edwards, Scotty Barnes looks a little interesting. I might stay off of him. Markkanen has been pretty decent at 86. Actually a pretty good play. Um, I just remember last year he was 7 something and he was just going crazy. So I mean, I'm used to him being at this salary right now, but I mean, all right, so Underdog just tweeted out questionable Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Jalen Duren, who I'm gonna get to. Daniel Gafford, Benedict Mathurin, to be decided, Kawhi and Paul George, probable, Klay Thompson, Bam Adebayo, Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler. So not much has really changed. I did see that Gabe Vincent for the Lakers is doubtful, so get to some D'Lo, maybe Austin Reeves. Truth be told, I don't even know a lot of guards, but you can obviously get to whoever on the Lakers. I don't know if he start. No, he doesn't start. But I mean, D'Lo just looks a little better. Sure, he's been balling a little bit, but at that price tag, you don't want at that price tag, you don't want him to get 32. You want him to try to get to near this 50 all the time. So whether that means grabbing more boards, playing a little better defense, who knows? Kuzma is pretty much almost always in play just because Washington is just a bad team in general. You can get to some Keegan Murray, maybe Sabonis as well from Sacramento, just because of no De'Aaron Fox. A lot of the guys are just going to get an increase in minutes. Jeremy Grant at 63 doesn't look too terrible. His minutes are there for the most part. It's just him actually producing. So I don't mind him in this spot at all. Michael Porter Jr. always has a green light or whatever. His rebounds have been crazy. Last game against Utah, he didn't do that great, but I mean, other than that, he's been pretty solid. How's Brandon Miller been doing? I have no idea. He's actually been balling. I know LaMelo hasn't been that great to start the year, so I mean, you could get to some Miller at 600 or 6,000. Slow-mo, I guess, if he starts to get some value, he's been getting some decent minutes, even 22 minutes, 24 fantasy points. I mean, that's still something. Wiggins doesn't look too bad. 20 minutes, 28. I mean, his minutes aren't there yet, but I would like Norman Powell if we got confirmation on Kawhi and Paul George out, but even if one of them is out, he's still a good play. There really isn't much else I like here besides obviously Lonnie Walker, who we talked about. Zaire Williams has been starting. He hasn't been doing like he's just getting a lot of minutes, but he isn't doing much. He had these two games with over 20 fantasy points. He's like your flyer type guy. I know Dean Wayne has been starting as well. He just hasn't been producing offensively or defensively. But Wade or Williams are some decent spots to get to if you just need to save some salary. Anthony Davis, Giannis, Sabonis, Scotty Barnes, these are all good plays. Out of like, besides Tatum, I kind of like Sabonis the best here, or even Giannis. Anthony Davis just kind of, he's been going kind of crazy. I mean, just three straight 60 fantasy point days. He's unreal. He looks great here against the Clippers. It also just depends on, I mean, regardless, he looks good. But you have blowout potential if Paul George and Kawhi don't play. I would feel more confident in playing Anthony Davis if we knew Paul George was out or if just Kawhi, regardless, he looks good. But Giannis looks good. 3 games, all over 40 fantasy points. You know, assists haven't been there. I just remember last season he had a lot of triple doubles, doing everything on the defensive end as well. LeBron is LeBron. Jaren Jackson Jr. kind of already talked about. Porzingis is interesting, but kind of like I was saying with all Boston guys, I mean, he's like his debut at Madison Square Garden dropped 50 fantasy points. That's crazy. Kristaps is a good player, but just a matchup, it's an knock on wood should be an easy matchup for Boston. Might not get his full run. Anthony Towns, I really don't like. Mobley looks great. Just obviously, he didn't have a great game last night, but would have we had him in a lineup, so would have really loved to see the points be, 33 points. But Mobley looks good. Randall looks good. I don't know what to make of Siakam. I mean, he's been producing a little bit, but I mean, when he's playing 41 minutes against Chicago, let's say, and he's only getting you 27 fantasy points, I don't know if there's any foul trouble or anything. I'm not really liking that. Maybe he just drops a little bit in terms of salary, and then we can get him for cheaper. Zion against OKC looks good. The minutes have pretty much been there. You would like him to get a little bit more, but he's been doing good. I don't know enough about Chet Holmgren, to be honest. I mean, he's been balling pretty well recently, so I mean, I don't have any issue getting to him. Kuzma, we talked about Ben Simmons. The one thing I like about Simmons, he's point guard, power forward eligible. So let's just say you don't like the point guard position much. You can just put Simmons here and then get better power forwards. PJ Washington. I mean, against Houston, he might not look too bad here. Not bad fantasy points. Minutes are looking like they're there. Aaron Gordon at 61 looks good. Opening night, we played him and I mean, 15.7 rebounds, 5 assists, a block, and 2 steals. Sometimes with like your centers or forwards, just any position, you kind of want some of these guys to get some blocks or rebound or blocks and steals, but um, he's in a good spot. I've seen a lot of people from Stochastic really like Jalen Johnson. He's been balling too recently. 6,000, a little cheap in my opinion. There's obviously a lot of other good spots to get to today. The one thing I'll say about Isaiah Stewart, I remember just betting on him to get double doubles a lot, and he's getting there. Jalen Duren, the 19-year-old center who's been just getting double doubles every game so far this season, he's questionable. I don't know what the actual injury is. You know what? Let's actually see this. It's an ankle injury. He's questionable, didn't participate. I would like to tend to say that he's not playing. So that means if that means getting to Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, finding some of the backup guys, James Wiseman, Bagley. I don't even know if he's still in the league, truth be told. Let's just go over some centers. I mean, the really only one is Jokic, plain and simple. I mean, if you have the salary for him, you might as well go for him. Sengun has been popping on the boom bust tool playing against Charlotte. I mean, the numbers don't lie. He's been balling. Nothing wrong with getting to him. So, I mean, you can obviously go if you can find a way to get because he's only 8,200. Um, any like Davis, Sabonis, Jackson, Porzingis, Towns, Mobley. You can just because he's only center eligible, you could put him here and pair with Mobley or something. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what's nice about having power forward and center eligibility. You can definitely get away with doing that. Truth be told, I really don't like a lot of these. DeAndre Ayton doesn't look bad. He's been okay. He had a 23 rebound game against Toronto, which is good, which is what you like to see. Ayton is in a good spot here. I'll always say this about Mitchell Robinson. I took over 15 and a half points, rebounds, and assists, and he ended up at 15 yesterday. He always has a block and steal upside, more so just a block upside. He had four against Atlanta, two against New Orleans. That's like one of the upsides about getting like Mitchell Robinson, just like Walker Kessler, for an example. I don't know how he's been doing. Not as much as usual, but I mean, the minutes haven't been there, so I'm really not on him. Mark Williams looks good against Houston. You can play pretty much either side of the Houston Charlotte game, and I wouldn't be mad. Tillman at 6,200, kind of like I don't mind it. There's better spots to get to, but he's going to see the minutes. I mean, 28, 23, 34, 33. And when he played 33, he almost got 50 fantasy points. I like Zubat if um, Kawhi and or Paul George are out. The issue is he's center eligible, so you're gonna kind of have to flip a coin between him and Sangoon. Gun to my head, I would take Sangoon, but at 5,800, if you're paying up for small forwards, point guard, shooting guard, definitely a good spot to get to. There's not much else I like here, truth be told. Um, that should just about do it though. I will post the boom bust tool in the description and everything else in the description. Just make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already.